Hey everybody, what's up? It's Preach, and today we're looking at fire mages. Why do we want a fire mage? Because we like to burn shit. Oh yeah, we do. So, fire mage, basic. This is, again, I've gone for a very low geared character so we can show how we get into it. And what we first know about fire mages is fire mages are the biggest random number generated class in the game. They're the most frustrating, at the same time the most fun class you can be playing at the moment, especially at low gear. They can drive you insane with low damage, or they can absolutely blow your mind when you start hitting some big pyro procs and there's damage going everywhere. Let's take a look at the characters we're going to be playing today. This is X-Preach on Sylvanas EU. Armory link is down in the bottom description. Item level 331. As we said on the Rogue Assassination Guide, 329 is the entry level into Heroics. So again, we have barely scraped over that border. We are just going to be first time getting into a Heroic. You know the usual score. You find a guy who just walks into the Heroic, as we've said before, and he's got absolutely garbage gear. How can we sort that out? Let's have a quick review of the gear. Firelord's gloves. Cheapest item you can buy with Justice points that's epic. Picked it up with just my leveling Justice points that we've picked up between 84 and 85, and even earlier we've picked up a few Justice points. Picked them up. I had some green geared, very low level gloves. Bought the Firelord's gloved. As I said in the previous video, if you've got a 3-5 item, you should sort that out. So we've stuck an intellect gem in there and some haste enchant on the gloves. Rest of the gear, blue, greens as usual. This character is a tailor. So we've got a 95 int and 80 stamina enchant on those legs. We've put an Ice Walker enchant from TBC because it's got a little bit of hit on it on the boots. But again, 333, 333, 325. Nice 333 trinkets. Got very lucky on the trinkets on this guy. Again, like I said in another video, if you are going to be profession rolling anything, I'd suggest you roll an Alchemist at the moment to get a nice early epic trinket for very cheap. One of the cheapest in professions you can go at the minute. Green wand. Managed to did a heroic on this guy earlier, just got a 346 offhand. Actually, I tell a lie, that is from Justice points again. So, I'm totally lying to you, my bad. We've got the 333 weapon, 333 bracers, 312 chest with spirit on it. It's a healer chest. Screw me. Healer back that we got from our reputation. 333 shoulders, 333 neck, and a 333 earthen ring honoured cloth helm. And you're asking yourself, Preach, you said in the assassination video it's got a meta gem. Why have you not put your meta gem in? Quite frankly, I haven't got another item with gem slots in it. We're wearing healer items, for Christ's sake. This is exactly what a fresh geared level 85 character looks like. And as such, it's exactly what we want. Okay? Reforging, what are our stats as a fire mage? Can get a little bit tricky at higher levels, but for basic, getting to level 85, we're looking at, firstly, like we did on our rogue, hit. Hit is very important for your mage. If any wasted cast, because our casts are very long as a fire mage, fireball is quite a long cast. So what we want to be doing is getting that hit rating up as high as we can. See, still can't hit it as a level 85 freshie. You can't do it, so don't worry about it too much. You get as much as you can. So we're looking for that big hit chance. So we want that nice 88 target level to be a 0. There's a 3.32 at the moment. Nothing we can do about it. We've done as much as we can. Next up is haste. Why is haste better than crit, you're wondering? Fire mages are very crit dependent to get them pyroblast procs. Well, what you find out is haste actually adds extra ticks to the spells, which are guaranteed things to happen. We get a lot of crit from talents that we'll look at in a minute, but haste is going to add extra living bomb ticks, extra ignite ticks, all this kind of stuff, extra pyroblast ticks, and more importantly, extra combustion ticks. And extra combustion ticks are very, very important. So we're going to go hit, then haste, and then we're going to be looking at any other stat that we can reforge away from. Okay? Very easy. So your primary targets when you've just hit level 85 is as much haste as possible, as much hit as possible. Let's get those stats up. So just for some basic reforging, we've looked at this. Crit and mastery. Well, mastery is slightly worse than crit. Mastery is not great for a fire mage at all. So we've taken our mastery and we've put it to hit. Again, crit and mastery. Mastery is not great. Crit is slightly above it, so we've turned the mastery into hit. And you can see the processes we've gone on. That's already got some hit on it, and we know that haste is better than crit, so we've left the hit alone, and we've turned the crit into haste. Always balancing those two stats as much as possible. Again, the boots already got hit on. Crit, not great. Haste is better. Let's tone down the crit a little bit, add a little bit more haste. It's all a bit of a balancing act. Repeated all the way down. Our trinket had so much hit on it. We were so thankful we managed to get that lucky drop that we just left that hit alone. Again, even Reforge your green, guys, very, very cheap. You're going to spend a couple of hundred gold. Nothing that you're worried about as you're leveling up. You're going to make a few thousand gold leveling Cataclysm. Even if you're leveling straight from 80 to 85, you're going to make some good gold. So let's use that gold, just set ourselves up, get it on there. This character is also an enchanter. You'll notice I've enchanted my rings. So he's an enchanted tailor. Quite a nice setup for a mage. I thought I'd asked all the professions I needed, so those are the ones I've used. Okay, put Hurricane again as we did in our rogue. Very cheap weapon enchant, very cheap. So we thought we'd stick a Hurricane on there. It's another haste proc, and haste is good for us. Again, we've even turned the crit on that into hit, and all the way through every item. Now, if you have got some healer items on you, remember you can reforge spirit. So if you have got a couple of healer items, take that spirit away, stick it on some hit. Spirit does nothing for us as a mage. It's just wasted stats. Let's get some hits out of it. Why not? We've got it sitting there doing nothing for us. Let's make it work. Let's make it work. Okay, so that's our gearing on the guy. Let's have a quick look at some talents. Fire Tree is beautiful. Oh man, we just want to burn things. Not how much as a kid did you just love the idea of these guys who burn things, these super heroes with fire coming out of their eyes. Absolutely brilliant. We're going to do that as a mage. What have we got? Burning Soul reduces cast time. Again, this is a DPS increase because every time you get spell pushback, if you take any damage, even from an AoE that's going on the boss, you lose cast time. And as a mage, as a ranged caster in general, you always want to be casting. This is the key to really pushing your DPS. If you're wasting a second not casting, that's just lost damage. It's not there. Why are you bothering to cast? If you're just going to let it waste, don't do it. Even when you're moving, you should be casting. Master of Elements, your spell criticals refund 30% of their base mana cost. This talent just gets better and better. Because more crit is you get more gear, you get more haste, you're casting more chances of crits. This is where it all works together. Haste is such a powerful stat. You're getting more ticks off your crits, and also you're casting more to get more crits. So it's beautiful. And then you get more mana back, so you've left downtime waiting for an evocation, using a mana gem, all this kind of stuff. Maybe even having to reduce yourself down to Scorch from Fireball. You've got this Master of Elements, so as your gear gets better, you get better and better, and it all works together nicely. Ignite, key, absolutely key talent for your damage. Your crits are then going to burn for their amount of damage, and it adds an extra dot on there, which is affected by haste again. So that is really, really nice. It's the key to a lot of our damage. Firepower, you get an extra damage bonus to your spells by 3%. Who doesn't want that? And your flame mob's going to explode. Okay? Impact, really good for AoE. Really, really good for AoE. Your Fire Blast now becomes similar to a Death Knight's Pestilence. You're going to be seeing all your dots on one mob that you've got up. You're then going to Fire Blast it when you get that impact proc, spread them all around. It's really, really good. Improved Scorch, very important for your early gear. Very important. This spec is hugely mana intensive. Hugely mana intensive, especially at early levels. You haven't got a great deal of mana to start with. As you can see on our character, we've only got 67,000 mana. So you're going to be using Improved Scorch when that mana starts around, especially when you're doing heavy AoE. Hot Streak, another key ability towards our DPS. Your spell crits, well, improved Hot Streak as well, is what we should mention there. 2 non-periodic spell critical strikes. Let's break that down into common sense, shall we? It's either 2 Scorched crits, or 2 Fireball crits, or if you're lucky, you got another Pyroblast. And Fire Blast works as well, but in general, you're not looking to get that. You're looking for a couple of Fireballs, 2 Fireball crits, Pyroblast Hot Streak crit, another crit from the Fireblast, and that's when this spec really comes into its own, and you're just going to be absolutely loving throwing these huge Pyroblast boulders of fire at people. Blast Wave, really good. Can cast it on the move. Nice AoE, extremely cheap. So when you're really running out of mana, your AoE is really going to start suffering because your mana's down. Remember, you should be using Blast Wave at all costs. Really nice and cheap. 1,000 mana. Beautiful. Cauterize, very important for when you're raiding. You might choose to skip that if you wish. I personally think it's a great talent because sometimes things happen. Let's face facts. Things go pear-shaped. Things go brown. It's brown trousers time. You can't get to the toilet in time. Cauterize is going to come and save the day with its own particular band of toilet paper and wipe you clean. It's going to save you. You're then going to start ticking for quite a lot of damage afterwards, but you've always got Ice Block there if you need it, or a very good healer. It gives you that extra chance to survive. You can say, well, you know, I'm going to survive, but it's still going to tick for all my health. Fact is, you didn't die. There's still some extra time there to save yourself. You can Ice Block it off. You might get that heal. Fire Starter gives you Scorch spell while moving. Brilliant. A lot of the times you've got to move, and what did we say earlier? You should always be casting. So if you've got to run for an ability, just throw in a Scorch. Why not? You might get a nice hot streak proc off that. You might get that crit scorch that's going to give you a pyroblast while you're moving. So moving hasn't really cost you anything. You've got another big pyroblast coming if you get a little bit lucky. As again, this is an RNG spec. Combustion, your main DPS cooldown. Talk a little bit about combustion. You've got basically 4 dots as a fire mage if you get really, really good. You've got your pyroblast dot that ticks afterwards. You've got your living bomb, which you'll need to keep up all the time. You've then got ignite. And when you've got all 3 of those ticking away, and you've got your big, nice igniter, preferably off a big spell, preferably off a pyroblast, not always possible at this level of gear, you're then going to use all them 3 dots, hit your combustion, which is going to sum up all those dots, turn them into an extra dot, and add that on top. So then you've got your big 4 dots ticking away. So with combustion, what we're looking for is to definitely have living bomb on. Preferably a pyroblast dot. Now in the early levels of gear, you might not always get that, because you can't hardcast pyroblast. By hardcast, I mean use that outside of a hot streak proc. It takes too long. So what you're hoping for is, this is your ideal situation, is you've got your living bomb on. We're keeping that on all the time. You've had 2 fireball crits, proc to hot streak. You've then fired a pyroblast. That's crit. So that's left it's a big ignite from a big hard hitting pyroblast. You've also got the ignite ticking from that. Then you're going to combust it, turn all those dots into an extra dot, and that's some big damage that's going to come in there. And be aware, if you mix that with impact when you're doing AoE, you can then spread that combustion to all the other mobs, and then you're going to see some laughably large damage, and you are going to be sat there going, burn you mothers. That's right, all good stuff. Improved Flame Strike makes it instant cast. Now, Flame Strike is a mana burner. It really will just, you'll see your mana bar just disappear casting, spamming Flame Strike. Do we care really as a mage? Depends on the fight. In a boss fight that's going to last a long time, it's probably going to screw you up constantly casting Flame Strike. But on trash packs where we can evocate, we can make our own drinks, doesn't cost us anything, doesn't matter. We're going to blow them up anyway. Dragon's Breath, really nice extra AoE. Very cheap again, nice to use in these early levels. And on top of that, it's actually an interrupt as well. So you get some trash that's going to be casting all sorts of bad stuff, even heals. Dragon's Breath it just breaks the spell cast. It's not a successful interrupt in terms of it's going to stop the school from casting. So it's like a heal is a nature's cast or holy cast. It's not going to interrupt the school, but it will stop the cast immediately, and that's what's important. We stop that heal. Molten Fury, sort of like an execute talent for us fire mages. Less than 35%, similar to our rogue, where 35% we could switch to backstab. With a mage, you're naturally going to start doing more damage. So nothing to worry about, no change in play at all. We're just doing more damage. That's all good. Critical Mass. As again, we are a fire mage. We're heavily reliant on crit to get our hot streaks. We want that. We're reforging to haste. So where's our crit coming from? Coming from spells like Critical Mass. Critical Mass, if your Pyroblast or your Scorch lands on a target, it's going to debuff it. Okay? It's going to cause it to, the mob to take 15% more damage from your Living Bomb and your Flame Orb anyway, so it's worth getting up there. And it's going to increase your critical strike chance by another 5% on top of your gear. So, very important, we start a fight with a Scorch, a boss fight, or if we know the boss is about to be pulled, we can start hard casting that Pyroblast. So as soon as the pull goes off, our Pyro lands, puts the critical mass debuff on, everybody's a winner. Pyromaniac, optional talent, depending on if you're doing a lot of AoE. We're doing heroics, so of course we're going to be AoEing a lot. Increases our spell haste by 10%, gets us much faster spell casts off. And that has to have a dot on 3 targets. Luckily, Living Bomb can go on exactly 3 targets. So if we Living Bomb 3 things, we get our Pyromaniac buff, we've got our 10% spell haste. Everybody's a winner. And finally, the Living Bomb itself, a dot. Mages didn't really have a dot in the past, now we've got one. Beautiful, does so much damage, and we can just ignore it. What you want to do is wait for it to tick off and do its explosion, because we took the talent earlier, so it gets that explode, and then reapply it. Not like other casters where they wait for their dots to nearly run out, then refresh it. As a mage, we're waiting for that Living Bomb to go off, then we're going to Living Bomb again. Wait for it to run off, let it explode. It's also going to do a ton of AoE damage. Oh, happy days when our Living Bombs go off. What did we pick up in the other trees? Piercing Ice, 3% passive spell crit. Happy, nothing wrong with that. And Netherwind Presence, 3% spell haste. We like haste, that's why we picked it up. Dead easy, very simplistic build. Nothing to worry about. What we might do in later days is if we don't need improved Scorch, we might pick up Imp Fire Blast, increase the yardage so we can cast it from further away, and increase our spell crit. Gives us chance of pyros, increases our AoE damage. As it stands though, we're going to go with improved Scorch because we are going to run into some mana issues in early heroics. Quick review of glyphs. Mage glyphs are garbage, absolute garbage, guys. We just want the basic ones.